here of RotoGrinders, and today we're going to talk about the RG Discord. If you're not a member, you should be. It is a fantastic community and resource that RotoGrinders provides, and it's easy to join as well. All you have to do is click the Discord icon on RotoGrinders or go to rotogrinders.com/Discord. From there, you'll either sign up if you're new to RG, or if you're already a member, just click the link at the top to go to the sign-in page. Once you've logged into your RG account, you can be taken to Discord to log in there. Once you've connected those accounts, you won't have to leave the server. You can freely close out and reopen Discord without ever having to reconnect. The idea of Discord might be a little bit daunting to you, but it's actually pretty simple to navigate. Whether you're on mobile or desktop, the far left side will show you the Discord servers that you've already joined. Then next to that, you'll see the channels within that Discord. We have both free channels like Chiefs Prop Shop and our daily sport channels, and we also have premium channels like Blender's Game Theory or the Crunch Time channels. Premium members can see the difference between the free and premium channels by looking for a padlock icon next to the premium channel names. We also have a few pointers for new and experienced users alike. If you're having trouble finding a channel, make sure that you haven't collapsed the section that the channel is in. Collapsing a channel will only allow it to appear when there are unread messages in that channel. Also, we find that using the actual Discord program works better than opening it in a browser like Safari or Chrome. Lastly, if you're having trouble with one of our tools, your RotoGrinders account, or any other technical needs, you can hop in our feedback and help section of channels to get help from one of our wonderful support and moderation team members. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter @RotoGrinders or email support@rotogrinders.com. See you in Discord.
What's up, everybody? Sunday afternoon baseball action here on RotoGrinders. Welcome to Crunch Time. I'm the Luch, Justin Carlucci, hanging out here, and I got two of our best experts with us here, Andre Alfred. What's going on, Dre? Thanks for hosting double duty yesterday. Man, we're ready for some Sunday baseball, my friend.
Yeah, definitely ready for some Sunday baseball for sure. And anytime I love hosting. It's actually a fun job. Hopefully I can do a lot more of it. So if you guys want to schedule me more or you want to see me more, please get it out there to the people. But anyway, just, happy to be here on a Sunday. Hopefully you can take down some GPPs and give someone some good plays to come in second place.
For sure. Keith, the Iceman Eister, having a killer month over there on Scores and Odds with your free article series. If you haven't read it yet, check it out. Scores and Odds under our news section. A lot of good stuff over there. Keith, how you doing today, man?
Yeah, thanks, man. Doing well. Got a lot of good pitching on the slate, a couple of offenses in really good spots. So I think we've got a good little Sunday slate. The sites were kind enough to go with the same slate for us as well. So we're not always that fortunate on the weekends here. But we've got aligned locks and the same amount of games on each slate. So should be pretty easy to break it down. Good little slate ahead of us.
Definitely. And Lineup HQ is free this weekend for MLB. A long 3-day weekend. So if you haven't had a chance to try out Lineup HQ, which is typically one of our best premium tools, I make my lineups with it. We all make our lineups with it. Check it out. Chance to check it out and see if you like it. And over there on Fanduel, if you're in a legal sports betting state, you can bet up to 1K, 1K risk-free bet when you sign up. So gotta love signing up for new sports books when you can to take advantage of their promotions. And if you're not signed up on Fanduel and you're in a legal betting state, definitely want to take advantage of that free bet, risk-free bet up to $1,000. So gotta love that. So full slate, a lot of action today. And it's kind of the pitching pool is kind of headlined by Dylan Cease, who got absolutely rocked during his last start, but couldn't, I don't want to pour salt in an open wound here, Keith, but couldn't be much more of a better matchup, a bounce back opportunity against your Cubbies, who, have some power, but, strike out quite a bit here. So let's start with the pitching here. And, we'll start with, we'll go with FanDuel and we'll talk about the differences on DK. Do you think Dylan Cease, Keith, has the highest upside out of any pitcher today?
I think he does have the highest upside. I think Shane McClanahan is right there with him. Corbin Burns is obviously in the conversation as well. But on FanDuel specifically, you get a pretty big discount on Dylan Cease. So he's clearly the cash game guy, I think. You mentioned his matchup with the Cubs, and the wind is blowing in pretty significantly at Wrigley there. So he's been touched by the home run ball a little bit here recently. That should be mitigated with wind blowing in at Wrigley. I'll take the savings on Cease. I do like McClanahan and Burns quite a bit as well for tournaments, but Cease is clearly the cash game guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a matchup thing, Dre. Cease has the best matchup out of any of those stud pitchers. But what are your thoughts? Corbin Burns and McClanahan are electric pitchers with, typically high K upside and raw points upside themselves. What are your thoughts with the kind of the pitchers up top here, Dre?
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards Heat just because of the matchup. I wrote that earlier today speaking about the matchup. It's just so good, so hard to avoid it, and also the price. Price is always a big factor on slates, and I normally don't consider when I'm going with hitting and stacks wise, but for the pitching, I will consider it, especially if two guys are pretty much the same price and have similar upsides. So they're pretty much almost priced appropriately. Priced about the same. It's just obviously about what a $700 difference between McClanahan and Cease. That's far enough, but still a point where I want to get Cease a little bit more because at 9,800 on DK, I think that's just a fantastic price to pay for him over McClanahan. And McClanahan's a little bit of a tougher matchup going against the Yankees, but he can still get it done, especially with the Yankees having a little bit of a watered down lineup, as I mentioned yesterday. With we got Stanton being hurt and a couple other guys too as well. So it just makes it easier for me to say that as a choice. And Cease is overall just to me the top play, and you can't get away from that. But I do love McClanahan and GPPs though, and taking some shots at him for sure.
Yeah, the bottom of that Yankees lineup is not good, and of course Joey Gallo's back in the fold, who's always a candidate to golden sombrero on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm thinking from your guys' comments and my thoughts that Dylan Cease is the FanDuel cash game pitcher. Would you guys agree on that?
Yep, I certainly
would say definitely would say that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess gun to head, do you prefer McClanahan as a pivot, or do you like Corbin Burns against a pretty low strikeout team, Keith? I'll throw that one over to you.
Roughly the same price. I like the matchup for McClanahan slightly better. You mentioned Gallo in the bottom of that Yankees lineup. That should be at least a couple of Ks. No Stanton in the Yankees lineup is just hurts their overall lineup. It falls off a little bit quicker. You've got Hicks all the way up in the 6 hole. And St. Louis just doesn't strike out a ton. So I prefer McClanahan. It's close. Like Burns can put up a double-digit strikeout game against anybody, but St. Louis has one of the lowest strikeouts in baseball. So it's McClanahan slightly for me today.
McClanahan's really good. And I feel like the only people that are stamping respect on his name are the gamblers who are rostering him in DFS and the people betting his strikeout props regularly. But he's so good. I mean, Tampa always finds these pitchers coming up through their system. It's incredible. Okay, talk to me about some other tournament options here. I guess I'll open it up to both sites here. Talk to me about some tournament options here. Severino, a lot of strikeouts in that Tampa Bay lineup. However, he's been struggling with lefties this year more than I realized he has. But some of those guys in that lineup to strike out so much, like Zunino and Taylor Walls, who says the Yankees are very beatable, and a couple of those guys. Tristan McKenzie, I think, is interesting. Draws a pretty good matchup with Detroit. Of course, Shane Bieber somehow couldn't get there strikeout-wise with 8 innings against Detroit yesterday. But, man, there's so many Ks in that lineup as well. So I'm looking at Severino and McKenzie personally, and Sonny Gray looked really good during his last outing. I understand he had a fantastic matchup. Not exactly the exact case with Kansas City. It's not a matchup that terrifies me, but pretty good pitching weather there, I believe, as well. So I don't mind Sonny Gray. Those are some tournament plays I'm looking at. Dre, I'll pass it over to you. Give me some GPP options today.
Yeah, so a couple guys I like. Obviously, you mentioned McClanahan, but the one that stands out to me that I'm looking to probably get well over the field on like specifically probably more so on a FanDuel play. I think would be like Max Fried. I just think that he just potentially could have an upside for a big game here. I don't know why. It's not even has anything to do with the stats and everything like that. It's just more so, I guess, a gut feeling. He's always been a good pitcher, never really gets blown up that much. But I don't know. I just feel like there's a big strikeout game coming from him. And I feel like I'm going to just try to maybe be a little bit ahead of the curve and try to jump on it now because against Miami, even though it's not the same Miami team of old, I still think Max Fried definitely has the upside to get have a big strikeout game against this team here. So that's the guy that I'm rolling with as far as my SP, my favorite GPP play. But obviously besides McClanahan and McKenzie's right there, more so probably would be in play for me on DK at the price of being 7,600. But to me, you can't go wrong with a lot of these guys because they're around. They are probably going to project around the same and probably put up close to the same score. It's just probably about finding the right value and getting the right bats to pair with it for sure for you.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case. All you hear is, "Oh, Max Fried's so talented. He's so good," and he is a really good pitcher. Has a great matchup. We haven't seen that 10, 11K game, but it's in there somewhere. What are your thoughts on Max Fried? And give me some tournament options, Keith.
Yeah, I like Fried. I love the matchup with Miami. The price he's far enough below the Burns McClanahan range that I will make sure that I have some just because it lets me do a few extra things in my lineup with the bats. So he's certainly in play. You mentioned McKenzie on DraftKings in particular. He is underpriced. That's going to bring some ownership with him, but I do like him. Great strikeout matchup against Detroit, obviously. Sonny Gray is a phenomenal option as well. Another guy that's underpriced on DK. Kansas City isn't a great strikeout matchup, but he's posting the highest strikeout rate of his career so far through a couple of starts. So dealt with that hamstring injury a little bit, but he looks to be in full, back to fully great form. So I do like the Sonny Gray call. And Severino being able to go into Tampa away from Yankee Stadium, I think is a big boost for him today. I think the strikeouts in the Rays lineup give him quite a bit of ceiling here as well. So like I said, this is a strong pitching slate, and I won't be going too much off the board outside of these top 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah, it makes sense. Getting away from Yankee Stadium, I think, is a good call for Severino, and there are strikeouts in that lineup. Sonny Gray is only 600 more on FanDuel than he is on DK, and he's projected to carry no ownership whatsoever. And I think it's worth noting. I mean, Keith, I know we were looking at his prop stuff recently, last couple starts, for scores and odds, and he was ramping up, and then he got hurt, and then he had to ramp up again, and then he had a great matchup, and it looks like the leash is kind of getting back off again, and he's looked great. So I do like the Sonny Gray call. 8,800 on FanDuel, you're going to be paying for him. It's people don't want to do that when they could just figure out a way to get Cease at 98 or something like that. I totally understand, or whatever he is on FanDuel, at a discounted price. I was looking at DK. So I like the Sonny Gray call. Anything else value-wise, DK for SP2? Are you guys dipping anywhere into this rough patch of value that they have, or are you more looking to get value with the bats and play some of these pitchers we talked about? By the way, if you have any questions, drop them in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to them towards the end of the show here. Got 1:15 p.m. Eastern, first pitch 1:35 for the main slate, so we have plenty of time to go around the horn. So, Dre, any of these, I don't want to label them gas can starters, but it's ugly if you are looking for a cheap SP2 on DK.
Yeah, there's no one that I'm looking at. I'm trying to just keep it simple, and just stick to what's the best right now. The lowest pitcher in my player pool right now is going to be McKenzie at 7,600. I thought about Josiah Gray for a brief moment, but I just don't think I want to get there today. I think it's better to just stick with some of these better options. A guy like I said, McKenzie, I think is good, and just find a way to get different with your bats. Like you said, we mentioned a lot of guys that are possibly going to be low owned, like Sonny Gray. I love the Sonny Gray call. He's another one of the pitchers I'm going to be trying to be overweight on for sure. And Severino, getting out of Yankee Stadium. So those are 2 guys just there in itself. I know they're a little priced up, but as far as for Severino at 9K, but I still think with the ownership, you still get a leverage there, and they could potentially put up big scores.
Keith, I know you're staring at that big projected ownership next to Tristan McKenzie. How does that make you feel?
Not great. So I did look for some pivots. Josiah Gray was the name I was going to throw out there. Not a great strikeout matchup against Colorado. He's been beat up a little bit here recently, but they've been tough matchups. So I don't mind a stab there. And then one other guy I was looking at, Nick Pivetta, just had a crazy outlier start against Houston, struck out 8. But the strikeout stuff has been better, and I like this matchup for him against Baltimore. So I could be talked into a little bit of Pavetta if I was trying to get into this range. The problem is it's only 400 more up to Gray. Just like I'll find myself on a lot more Gray than I will on Pavetta. So I'll probably try to double the field on Gray. I'll sprinkle in Pavetta whenever I just don't have that extra money.
Cool. Let's get to some hitting here. What do you guys think? We'll go around the horn here. And we'll look at DK because we need a catcher there. And then at the end, or if there's any pricing discrepancies, we'll try to call them out between sites and these position guys. But if they're gonna hit, they're gonna hit, and we're gonna like them. And if you're multi-entering, we're gonna try to find a way. So feel free to drop your single entry questions and your stat questions in the YouTube chat, and we'll get to them there. So I'm looking at catcher on DK. We'll start there. And it looks like projected ownership wise, Christian Vasquez and Riley Adams are really coming in at a high ownership number for two guys that are just average offensive hitting catchers. And no disrespect there, but I would play those guys in stacks. I probably wouldn't want to one-off them at those ownerships. I don't want a 0 at 20% staring at me in the face in my lineup if they go 0 for 4 or something like that. So Dre, talk to me about Vasquez and Riley Adams and a lot of catchers with single digit projected ownership here with a ton of upside, like Yasmani Grandal. I mean, pretty average matchup against Marcus Stroman, but nothing that's terrifying. So I think you can really find some ways to get different here at catcher.
You definitely can for sure, and that's one of the things I'm going to be looking at trying to do today. But it's going to be harder when Christian Vasquez is in a great spot. I love Boston today as a stack, probably one of my favorite stacks to go with. But I'm also going to look on the opposite side of that game because I do like Baltimore as well. And go with what's his name, Rutschman, I believe is his name. He's going to be like about 2% on as a catcher, buying the 5-0 for Baltimore going against Pavetta. I think that he could potentially be a good option, a good play, and especially going to be low owned. So he's someone I'm looking at to try to get a home run. Yes, Manny, as you mentioned before, Travis d'Arnaud when you're with your Atlanta stacks. Those are some of the guys going to be probably well over the field on. And a guy also that I don't want to forget about, I want to mention is Riley Adams. I think that Washington has. I know not a lot of people like Washington today, but I do. I'm really high on him today. So, and he's going to obviously 2,900 is coming in a little bit higher ownership, but I'm just going to keep mentioning that he is a really good play to me and that the whole team as a whole.
Yeah, Keith, they're slapping some respect on Rutschman's name, getting him up to 4,100. While Dre was talking, another thought that came into my mind here was, as much as I do like McKenzie in the matchup, I don't mind one-offing like Eric Haas in the lineup, McKenzie being a fly ball pitcher, or going there. So anything else here at catcher you have an eye on?
Love the Rutschman call. He's probably my favorite tournament pivot. Just one of the best prospects in baseball. I like Pavetta a little bit today, but I think Rutschman's talented enough to get it done against him. Narvaez is kind of in that same 3K range as Vasquez and Riley Adams, so I don't mind that as like a straight line price pivot. Like Michaelis isn't a guy that gets blown up, but Narvaez in the 7 hole is a fine option. That's really about it. I don't mind Vasquez and Adams at the top, but trying to get away from that outside of stacks for sure.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to first base. CJ Cron, going to cost you a fortune. Love the matchup, though. Love the ownership. So if you can figure out a way to get him in, I mean, he's a guy who could break a slate any given day of the week. Matt Olson, good spot there. I kind of like Atlanta. Seems to be decent hitting weather there. We'll talk stacks then, but Olson's catching my attention here. So Dre, I'll pass the torch over to you. Talk to me about first base. Torment options. Is there a cash game play here? I mean, Josh Bell's carrying a lot of ownership and he's fairly priced. So give me your thoughts here.
Yeah, Josh Bell is definitely, like I said, with the Washington stacks. I like him today. I love him today a lot. So He's one of the guys that definitely will be using and being overweight the field on. Bobby Dave Block sticks out to me as well. So someone else will be using pretty much like the it's hard to get away from these higher end guys because they are good plays. So like Mountcastle also speaks to me. Mancini, Olsen is a good play. But some of these lower end guys that I do really like, Rowdy Tellez, I love trying to get to him as a one-off, or even if you want to make a Milwaukee mini stack, I don't mind that today as well. Minnesota is also a little bit on the radar. So, some of the players from Minnesota, so Luis Araya, he's someone else that I look at. I'm going to probably have a lot more of exposure to him than the field.
Bobby Dahlbeck's been killing me in my season long, and he comes in and hits a pinch hit bomb yesterday of all things. So maybe he can finally turn it around. Super cheap. Love him in those Boston stacks. And I know, Dre, you're a big fan of stacking the bottom of the orders and even, against in stacks that look to project well. So, I think he fits in really well there. I like Boston a lot today too. Keith, first base, anything different here? And like, who's your cash game play?
I think I would try to get up to Olsen, but Bell is fine. He's a little bit cheaper, but I love this spot for Matt Olsen. Hernandez has struggled with lefty power significantly this season. ISO was up over 300, I think, when I was looking at some stats. So definitely love Olsen. If you don't have the money, I don't mind going all the way down to Mountcastle either. Just underpriced for his talent at 2,800 here on DraftKings. I believe Mancini is the cheap one over there on FanDuel. So be Mountcastle for me on DraftKings, Mancini on FanDuel. Love Dalbec as well. Also a huge fan of the Boston stack today. Yeah, I mean, that's really about it. That's a pretty decent pool. Dre mentioned Arise. That price tag's getting up there, but love that matchup with Greinke. So don't mind that call either.
Yeah, Dahlbeck kind of terrifies me for cash games. I'm looking at DK carrying about 15% ownership. I would just find a way to either get Bell or Olsen for cash. As much as Dahlbeck has fantastic power upside, his strikeout rate's ridiculous. So anytime he carries ownership, it worries me to play him in cash games. That's my thought there. Let's move on to second base here. I have DK pulled up, and Cesar Hernandez projected to carry a ton of ownership here. So plenty of opportunity to get different here at second base for tournaments. I totally understand the Hernandez thing. He's fairly priced. Leading off against Kyle Freeland, it makes a ton of sense. At that ownership, I think he's the cash game play at second base. I think there's a huge gap there. So, okay, Dre, talk to me for tournaments here. Looks like Christie has Trevor Story tagged as a conviction play, and I know we both love Boston quite a bit. So talk to me about Trevor Story and the rest of the group here at second base.
Yeah, Trevor Story's just been. I think once you finally got settled in Boston, he's just been this up from there and just been killing it lately. Obviously he's not scorching it like he was the past couple games, but Trevor Story is still probably the best second base play to me on the slate. So you definitely have to roster him, especially in a matchup against Zimmerman. Just get him in there and get him in your lineups. I like going with a guy like Colton Wong today as well. Part of your Minnesota stacks, I think he's perfectly fine. Low owned guy that makes your lineups a little bit different. Your Milwaukee stack, sorry, not Minnesota. Ozzy Albies as well. Atlanta, if you're rostering them, I definitely don't mind that too for sure. Then one more guy that I am looking at, just to be probably a little bit different. If you want to, so say for instance, like this is just pure GPP if you're running 150. If you are getting a little bit different, and we know McClanahan probably will be decently popular, going to throw in a little mini Yankee stack. DJ LeMahieu, I don't mind, or Gleyber Torres. Those are the guys I don't mind. They're more so probably DJ, but I would be looking at those guys to probably like a mini Yankee stack to get different.
Cool. I want to make sure we get some questions in. So Keith, I might bring us over to shortstop if that's okay, and then I'll throw third base over to Dre, and then we'll talk about the outfield collectively. So I'll say some words here while you're bringing up shortstop. Xander Bogaerts, to no surprise, carrying a ton of ownership. Then you have Ahmed Rosario at 4K, batting second against Rodriguez. Tim Anderson, I feel like the White Sox are sneaky today, just kind of an average matchup. And I kind of like the White Sox for larger field tournament stuff. And Dre, I think you mentioned Minnesota, a couple guys there in Correa and Royce Lewis who are both shortstop eligible. Big difference in price and probably upside though. So Keith, shortstop here. What do you got?
Yeah, Bogarts is the clear top play with the platoon advantage against Zimmerman here with Boston. Top stack of the day for me. I like the Minnesota guys as well. Greinke has been really bad. He's not striking anybody out. So Correa up at the top of the range, go all the way down to Royce Lewis if you want as well. Ahmed Rosario at the top of the Cleveland lineup. I do like that as well. They're facing a pretty mediocre rookie right-hander today. So Rosario certainly in play. And then Dansby Swanson is another guy I like. I like this Atlanta stack quite a bit. Swanson's been performing much better lately after a slow start to the season. He's all the way up to the 2-hole today. So I do like Dansby quite a bit.
Okay, cool. Third base, Dre. Our guy Devers at the top there. Big gap in ownership, but seems like that's where the public's going. Fantastic matchup hitting second. Jose Ramirez carrying about 15%. Another great matchup there too. What do you got for third base, Dre?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Devers, Jose Ramirez, Ryan McMahon as a one-off. Throwing in Austin Riley. Don't even mind that as well. And that's really it. That's only the main guys I'm gonna try to target today. Not gonna really try to get too much different out of those.
Okay. Outfield, big slate, a ton of plays as always. Anybody sticking out to you specifically? You can see on Outfield, on DK, Lane Thomas, Kiki, JD, Miles Straw all have conviction tags by them. So, Keith, give me a couple guys for the outfield.
Yeah, Kike is just underpriced. He's been hitting it really well. We play him against lefties for years now. Top of the Boston lineup. Love that one. JD, I've got that conviction tag on him, has smashed lefties throughout his career. He's expensive, but I think there's a ton of upside here today. Nelson Cruz, another one I really like. I know Dre is on the Washington stack as well. Lane Thomas is underpriced near the top of that lineup. So all of these guys are picking up quite a bit of ownership, but I think they all make for phenomenal plays today. A couple of guys to get different. I've mentioned Atlanta at a lot of the positions. Acuna is projecting for under 10% ownership, like him quite a bit. Been dealing with that injury, but if Atlanta thinks he's good enough to be out there, I'm willing to trust it and just roll with him. Let's see here. What else we got? Cedric Mullins is a guy that I do like against Pavetta there. Good ballpark in Boston, like that one. And then Marcelo Ozuna and I don't think Duvall cracked the lineup. So, but just Ozuna in that Atlanta stack, he is underpriced as well. Another guy I like to get off the board a little bit.
Cool. Let's get to some questions. We got about 6 or 7 minutes before first pitch at 1:35. There are 3 games at 1:35. Ice works more than Stephen A. I love it. First comment I see in the chat. That's awesome. Let's see here. Roth has wind blowing out. Why are we saying wind's blowing in? I will double check on that. Too much pitching for one lineup. All right, so we talked about a bunch of them. The new popular question I've been hearing is if you're playing one single entry tournament lineup, who are you playing, kind of thing. So Dre, I'll put you on the spot first. If website matters for price, let me know. But who's your FanDuel pitcher for a single entry tournament today?
That's a tough one.
Or I mean, DK, you need 2, so I know it's tougher. But
yeah, either one is going to be tough. Like, I probably would take a shot on FanDuel. I might take my shot and go with Max Fried.
Okay, all right. Keith, what do you think about FanDuel? One lineup, single entry pitcher. Who's your guy today?
I know he's expensive, but I think I'd go up to McClanahan. I like this matchup against the Yankees without Stanton. There's some strikeouts in this lineup. McClanahan would be my guy. I'll find the money for him. And I did just check the weather or the wind in Wrigley because that's a huge deal. A strong south wind at 20 plus miles per hour will be blowing in from Kevin Roth on the weather page. So I don't know what that guy was looking at, but I do see the wind blowing in.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. And sometimes when I'm reading a bunch of stuff really fast, as soon as I see wind, I automatically think it's out, but then I read it and it's all blowing. Yeah, it's a big deal, like you said, especially in Chicago. So plus for the pitchers in that game for sure. Let's see here. Come on, computer. STL stack for all the money. The Cardinals, nobody I'm considering today. Obviously, very talented lineup. You guys have any Cardinals exposure today, like other than one-offs or anything like that?
No.
Nope, not trying to pick on Burns.
Okay, all right. Kiermaier or Santander for DK GPP last piece. What are your thoughts, Andre?
Kiermaier and who? Santander
Mm-hmm.
for GPPs as the last piece.
Yep.
I don't mind it. I personally would go with I don't mind it. If it's those two together, if it's just one of them, I'm gonna go with the second guy.
Okay. Keith, you got a lean on that one?
Slightly to Santander.
Okay. They're not playing at Wrigley. My mistake. They're playing in Chicago. The wind's still blowing in, so I still like the pitchers, regardless of stadium.
Yeah, that is correct. They're at the Sox Park and not Wrigley. I think I said that. That's my fault.
It's okay. You're working a lot, man. So, you need a day off. Yeah. Okay. So 2 minutes before lock, give me like 3 stacks you're looking at, Dre, and feel free to throw something off the wall for large field tournaments.
Hold on, go to Keith first. I'm actually typing right now and answering the question chat.
All right, Keith, give me some stacks here you're looking at for tournaments.
All right. I think Boston is the clear number 1 stack. Really like them. I'm on Atlanta quite a bit as well. Love just Hernandez going into Atlanta away from his home park. He's already struggled with some power. So I really like the Braves bats today. I like Minnesota a good amount against Greinke, and Washington against Freeland would be my kind of top group.
Yeah, I have a lot of that exposure. I do have Colorado too, even though it's, not the Coors game, but I still think it's a good spot for them, especially the lefties in that Colorado side. So the Rockies are another team that are in my pool quite a bit here.
My top 3: Boston, Minnesota, and Atlanta. Those are my top 3. I do like Washington a lot and Baltimore as well, but those are obviously that rounds up my top 5.
Cool. Do we have a home run call of the day? I know we love hot takes here, Dre. And by the way, Dre's been putting out some awesome lotto parlays on Scores and Odds, and you've been so close. So many legs you've hit on these things, man.
Yeah, it's been stressful though. I had to take a break for a day, but I'm back at it today. I went tonight for the Miami Heat game 7, but my home run call of the day, I want to go off the board a little bit. I don't want to say no one that's like normally going to hit a home run. So give me a guy like give me a guy like Jonathan Scope to go yard today off of McKenzie.
Okay, Keith, home run call of the day.
I'm gonna go Matt Olson.
Matt Olson, good call. I'm going Buxton. I know it's probably a lame answer, but I think Buxton goes deep today. Just with that, we hit the 135 first pitch lock. So 3 games are just about to get underway here. Guess that's about it. I'll see if any more questions come in. Our guy Mark Flores in chat. What's up, Mark? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. My FanDuel pitcher pool is down to 4 pitchers, and they're all guys we talked about. So Keith, I think you pretty much nailed it when you said you weren't going too far off the board. Now for DK and SP2, I totally understand. Just hoping someone outscores McKenzie at his ownership in that like 7K range there. But for FanDuel, I think there's a clear-cut group of guys that have some real ceiling opportunities here. Anything else, fellas, before we jet out of here?
I don't think so. Got game 7 in the NBA tonight.
Oh yeah, let's get a prediction here. Let's hear it. Dre, I know you're a little bit of a homer, but are the Heat going to get it done or what?
I put in a score. See this thing, you got to read the article because I predicted this was going to happen before the beginning of the series. I said Miami is going to win in 7.
Are you paywalling me? Come on, man.
I'm just letting everyone know. No, I'm not trying to paywall you. But we got to let the people know where to get it at. So they weren't to bet on it in advance. They could have won some extra money. But Miami Heat is winning it tonight. They messed up by giving us a chance. Like, you should never done that. Just like Kendrick Perkins says, we get some goons from Dade County. We about to sit there and really ride out tonight and show what Miami Heat culture is all about.
Keith, are you with him? Are you with Dre or are you without Dre here?
Man, I've been on Boston all series, but I don't know what Jimmy Butler just did in Game 6. It's kind of hard to overlook that. I just don't know if Jimmy will let them lose. So
Yeah.
I'm wavering on my Boston take.
I'm enjoying the banter between Kirkwood and Dean. Every time the Celtics get a W, you get that green picture of Dean. So I wonder what Dean has in his back pocket if Miami wins Game 7, because he's got to put something out there. So I don't know how to not take Miami at home. Although
Right.
I'm just hoping for a great, like, this is like the game we've been waiting for all playoffs. Finally, there's been so many blowouts. I know this is the baseball show, so while we're rambling, if you have any questions,
Oh,
drop
we
them.
did the same thing yesterday. So trust me,
Get outta here.
people stick around and sit there and talk and listen.
Sorry, Eli. We'll get off the air. But anyway, so it sounds like we're on Miami. We'll see. But definitely check out Scores and Odds, as Dre said. A lot of great stuff over there. A lot of free articles, a lot of good free bets, and then of course our premium packages have been really, really good this month. Our baseball team and our hockey team they've both been unbelievable this month. So check us out. Michael in chat said Celtics go Boston. Best of luck to you and your Patriots, AV, I see there. So should be a good one, folks. We're going to get out of here. So for Dre, Keith, and of course, Eli producing the show, thank you so much, Eli. Justin, have a good Sunday, everybody.